Ron? Where is Ron right now?
Hi everyone, my name is Aaron and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to answer a couple viewer comments. These are comments on the video I uploaded yesterday about Clearwater City Council member Jon Jennings having 4 phone calls with David Miscavige, leader of Scientology. I'll link to that video up above so you can get some context if you haven't seen that yet. There's 2 comments here that I wanted to respond to. The first one is from a viewer named Carl Galler. Carl, I believe you live in my area, not far from me, and I've seen a number of your comments. So I wanted to, this was a good comment. I'm gonna take it bit by bit and respond to each part. So the comment begins, "Hey, Aaron!" Love the reference. "Glad to see your campaign moving along so well. Here is my solicited opinion and recommendation on your thoughts about Jon Jennings' recent statements. It appears clear that Jennings is coming from a position of pure motivation to do what's best for downtown Clearwater. Really, he seems like one of the good guys." So let me respond to this part right off the bat. I don't contest that sentiment. When Jon Jennings was first hired as the city manager, I did a video on this channel, I'll put a link to it up above here, called New City Manager is Bad News for Scientology. And I had an opinion that Jon, of all the candidates for Clearwater City Council, particularly of all the finalists, there were 4, maybe 5, but I think 4. 4 finalists that the people of Clearwater had a chance to see them interview live. They were, there was a little event. The finalists were up on stage. They answered questions. It was clear from what I saw of Jon that he had done the most research of Scientology, research on the subject of Scientology. And it was also clear that Jon is a bit of a hothead. He's been embroiled in a bit of controversy in his professional career as the city manager of Portland, Maine. Some might look on that as a negative. I tended, we'll see, to look on that as somewhat of a positive. I like people who don't shy away from conflict. That doesn't mean you have to seek it out, but I like people who are not intimidated or afraid of confrontation. And David Miscavige doesn't stand up well to confrontation. He's not used to dealing with confrontation. These were part of the things that went into my, or contributed to my sentiment that Jon Jennings was bad news for Scientology. I do not see Jon Jennings as a bad guy. I do not see him as an ill-motivated person. I am still quite optimistic. I mean, I'll be honest, my optimism is waning, but that's because of things I'm hearing behind the scenes. I am still optimistic that Jon Jennings can be the right guy for the job. One of the only reasons I'm even responding to these things publicly is because it's being reported in the press, and I sort of feel that I have a duty. The reason I'm here, the reason this channel is here, the reason I'm running for council is to be someone who gives my honest sentiment on things and doesn't just try to, cover up. So, I'm not trying to, I don't see it's my job to only paint a rosy picture about Jon Jennings. There's certain things being reported in the press. I need to give my honest assessment about them. And yet, let's see, the exact wordage that you used here is, Jennings is coming from a position of pure motivation to do what's best for downtown Clearwater. I 100% agree with that statement. I believe that Jon Jennings believes that anything he proposes is going to be what's best for downtown Clearwater. So the question isn't what's in his heart. The question is whether he's correct or not. And I just need to be actively involved in that conversation and giving my viewers my thoughts on that conversation. And, hopefully as a council member, giving all the citizens and the voters my honest opinion on things like that. So, all right, let's continue on. Jon Jennings is a seasoned politician, at least within the realm of business. That's fine. He's being diplomatic and giving Miscavige the benefit of the doubt. What you're saying here, Carl, is exactly what I said in my first video on this subject about a week ago. I'll put a link to that up above as well, where I really I gave my ultra optimistic and generous interpretation of things. And the sum total of that was basically that Jon is a real strategist. And that if Jon is looking like he's on Miscavige's side, that's because he wants Miscavige to believe that. And that is what I said about a week and a half ago. If it weren't for things I was hearing behind the scenes, I might still feel that way. Between you and I still hope that that is the truth. but I cannot be, I want to be optimistic, but not blindly so. And I don't want to dishonestly communicate how optimistic I am. My real optimism on this subject stems from the fact that the decision about all of these things lies with the council and not with Jon Jennings. That is where I'm really optimistic. And look, I know I'm repeating myself here a little bit. I'm still optimistic that this is going to turn out well with and for Jon. Let's see. He's being diplomatic. He's giving Miscavige the benefit of the doubt. I really don't think that Jennings is as naive as you think. This is something I want to be really clear on. I do not think Jon Jennings is naive. That's actually what's bothering me a little bit. Jon Jennings is no dummy. Look at everything I said in my first video about a week and a half ago on this subject of Jon talking to David Miscavige. I laid heavy praise onto Jon. I do not think Jon is naive. And if Jon is putting on a show for Miscavige, good. We won't know until this all rolls out. And some of the sentiment that I, expressed in my video yesterday, again, is a reflection of some of the things I'm hearing behind the scenes. Okay. So I don't think it would be very politically beneficial for you to give Jennings, So I think it would be very politically beneficial of you to give Jennings some latitude and even support for his optimistic approach. Well, now hold on. I am giving Jon Jennings a lot of latitude. Again, I refer you to my video of about a week and a half ago. I've already put a link to it up above. I don't know what support would look like here. If give Jennings support for his optimistic approach. I'm not quite sure what that would look like. I cannot come out here and be dishonest about what I think is the right way to proceed when it comes to the business of the city of Clearwater, its relationship with Scientology. So, again, I agree with the heart of what you're saying here. I'm not sure how it would be executed. Let's take another look at it. It would be very politically beneficial for you to give Jennings some latitude and even support for his optimistic approach. Well, here's the thing. I'm looking for city staff to actually show some balls when it comes to dealing with Scientology. I am not looking for city staff to demonstrate optimism. I mean, at some point, optimism is just a result of ignorance. And especially when it comes to Scientology and not understanding what it is, not understanding who David Miscavige is, what he does, how he operates, what the motivations are of the Flagland base, what the motivations are of David Miscavige himself. At some point, optimism is just a reflection of ignorance. And what I would like is for Jon, what I was hoping for, is that Jon would be exhibiting strength. What I'm seeing is weakness. And if that's just a show, that's fine. But I don't think it's particularly my role to cover for him or explain for him or apologize for him, even though I have, like I said, put a lot of words on tape recently about how optimistic I am about him in general. And that I will retain that optimism. But I can't be dishonest in the optimism. Okay, the city council will have the last word regardless. Let Jennings learn firsthand how much of an opportunistic POS Miscavige really is. Oh, look, he's going to learn firsthand. I mean, I'm not trying to teach him a lesson before he learns it the real way, the hard way. But, if you look at this another way, Jon Jennings is not going to learn how much of an opportunistic POS Miscavige is unless the city does a deal with Scientology and Miscavige falls through on his obligations in the deal. Miscavige, let's not forget this, is pretty much an absolute master in, I want to say a charade, stage presence, putting on a show. You have to understand, all of these horrible stories we hear about Miscavige, those are stories told by the people who worked with him closest and worked with him longest. I personally had nothing but the most positive feelings and thoughts and absolute reverence for David Miscavige. For my entire time in Scientology, even after I left the Sea organization, I still thought Miscavige was the greatest thing ever. This caricature of Miscavige, of him being an angry, vicious, hard to deal with guy, Jon Jennings is never going to see that side of Miscavige. The city council members are never going to see that side of Miscavige. So when you say, let Jon learn firsthand, basically, who Miscavige really is, Jon's never going to find that out unless we do a deal with Scientology. Because only then can Miscavige then screw the city by backing out of the deal. Now, the other way Jon might learn something here is when the city fails to do a deal, Miscavige will once again try to take retribution upon the city. Well, that's fine. I mean, that's going to happen no matter what. That's just a continuation of the same story that's already been, being told for the last 45 years. That's where you have to learn from history. It's okay to learn from other people's mistakes. Learn from history. This is not a lesson Jennings really needs to learn the hard way. Okay, you should be the guy that rides in on his white horse rather than say, I told you so. Offer to help get him moving in the right direction to really serve downtown Clearwater. So I'm not entirely sure what this sentence means, to be honest. I'm certainly not going to be the I told you so guy. For me to even say I told you so would require, again, the deal to actually get done and then to have Miscavige back out. For me to go, I told you so, that's not my role. I want to be an educator up front to prevent mistakes, prevent the city from making mistakes, prevent Jon from making mistakes. I certainly don't see myself as an I told you so guy in this situation. As far as riding in on the white horse, again, I'm just not sure what that would look like in this scenario. Isn't the guy who rides in on the white horse like the hero who's coming to save the day? I'd rather there not be a day to save. I want, again, we already said this decision is up to the council. I think success in this scenario is making sure the council doesn't make the wrong decision, but success would also be helping the city manager to understand why he may be leading or looking like he's trying to lead the city down the wrong path, or why he may be leading himself down the wrong path professionally. And that's honestly what I'm hoping to accomplish with these videos. I'm not just trying to be an armchair quarterback incessantly criticizing the city manager. I see my role as someone who can be, should be, and is trying to be helpful in an educational capacity to help city leadership understand things about Scientology they don't already understand. And because that has been such a challenge over the last few years, that is what actually has caused me to go, screw this. I'm tired of just trying to be educational for other people. If I can't explain it to them in a way that either they can understand it or if hearing it from me doesn't have any kind of an impact in their worlds, then I'm done trying to bring about that change. I'm just going to take one of the seats and I guess they say be the change that you'd like to see in the world. In this case, it would be do the things you're trying to get other people to do. I've just decided to stop trying to convince city leadership to do X, Y, and Z. Just become one of the city leadership and show them how to do. Just do X, Y, and Z. Show them what it looks like. Show them that it can be done. The whole idea of riding in on a white horse to me would imply that something terrible has already happened. And I think most people in Clearwater view everything that Scientology has done to this city as being something terrible that has already happened. So, I mean, if you want to talk about me or people like me trying to get onto the council as perhaps, fitting that analogy of riding on the white horse per se, I can at least understand what you're talking about. But I'd rather do everything I can to prevent the city manager and the council from making a huge mistake here than hoping that I'd be part of cleaning up the mess after the fact. So I hope that's a helpful answer to, well, the questions that you've posed here. Actually, they weren't questions, they were just comments, but I did want to respond to them. There was another question I wanted to ask, but I think I've spent enough time answering this one question. I'll save the other question for another video. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching until the very end, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.